Okay then, Year 12. This is the video for the exam that you've just done, and I need everyone to do the corrections for this because, as we said in class, this underpins everything that we will be doing. So we need to have a rock-solid understanding of all of this. Okay, so the first question was this. Now, in C1, if ever you're asked to factorise a cubic, and by cubic what I mean is something with an x cubed here, and the first thing you're going to do is factorise an x outside. So if we factorise an x outside, we're going to get x squared minus 4x plus 3, and lots of people got that. Now once you've done that, you need to be able to factorise a quadratic inside it. That's why it says factorise completely, because you've got to do more than one step. So then you've got x, and if we factorise this into two brackets, we're going to have x here, x here. 1 times 3 makes 3, but you've got to use them to make minus 4x. That's going to be minus 1x. That's going to be minus 3x. And that's it, factorised completely. Question 2. Let's get rid of that. So again, factorised completely. Because it says factorised completely and the fact it's worth 3 marks, means that the first step is going to take out an x. So it's going to be x squared minus 9. Again, I'm not going to give you 3 marks just for doing one step. So what you've got to be able to recognise is that this is the difference of 2 squared. We've got this, which is x times x. We've got this, which is 3 times 3. So then, if we factorise that, that's going to be x plus 3, x minus 3. And it's really, really vital that we can spot that. Question 3. Now this one, even though it wasn't done brilliantly, it was 16 to the power of a half. It should have been plus and minus the square root of 16. It should have been plus and minus 4. Now the next one, we've got a negative power. It's going to be 16 to the power of minus 3 over 2. Now the first thing we do with negative powers is 1 over 16 to the power of 3 over 2. Now the way we deal with fractional powers, the bottom is the root. So that's going to be the square root. And once we've done that, we raise it to the power. So it's going to be 1 over the square root of 16, and then you're going to cube it. So the square root of 16, as we've seen, is 4, or plus or minus 4. Then we're going to cube that. So 4 to the power of 3 is 64. But because it's the square root of 16, in theory we should have a plus and minus there. Now, we didn't mind too much if you didn't get that in this question, but in other questions it may be vital that you have to do that. Okay, question 4. So again, very, very similar question. This is one that I said was actually 8 to the power of minus 2/3. But again, similar thing. So 8 to the power of a third means something times something equals 8. So that something must be, so the cube root of 8 is 2. Now again, this one, you've got to deal with a negative power, so that's going to be 1 over 8 to the power of 2/3. Again, just like in the previous question, the way we deal with the negative, with a fractional power, the bottom is the root, then we raise that to the power. So that's going to equal 1 over the cube root of 8, and then square it. So the cube root of 8 we've seen is 2, and then you're going to square it, so that makes 4. Now notice that here, the bottom of the fraction is an odd number, so it's not going to be plus and minus, it's just going to be the positive version. Okay, question 5. Sorry, apologies, I have to sneeze. So the next one, 8 to the power of 4/3. So the first thing we do, the bottom is going to be the root, so that's going to be the cube root, and then we're going to raise that to the power of 4. So as we saw in the last question, the cube root of 8 is 2, so that's going to be 2 to the power of 4, which is 2, 4, 8, 16. But the next one wasn't done brilliantly. We've got 15x to the 4 over 3 over 3x. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cancel out these numbers. So 15 over 3, that equals 5. Now here, just take a second and think what it is that we're doing. So this is x to the power of 4 over 3 divided by x to to the power of, well, 1. Now, going back to GCSE, if you'd have had a question x to the power of 6 divided by x to the power of 2, we'd known that's x to the power of 4, because we'd simply take away the powers. In exactly the same way, we're going to do 4/3, take away 1. Now, 1 is the same as 3/3, so 4/3 take away 3/3 is 1/3. So it's going to be 5, because of the numbers, 15 over 3, and x to the power of 1/3. Okay, next question. So 16 to the power of 1/4. Now again, we can see here that the root, the fourth root, is an even number, so in theory it should be plus and minus. It's going to be the fourth root of 16, so something times something times something times something equals 16. So that something is going to be 2. It's going to be plus and minus 2. Now the next one. 16x to the power of 12, all to the power of 3/4. We should know that here we multiply the powers when they're in brackets. So that's going to go to x to the power of, well, 3/4 of 12 is 9. Now a lot of people did 3/4 of 16, but it's not. It's 16 to the power of 3/4, which is why, to begin with, we had 16 to the power of 1/4. So 16 to the power of 1/4 was 2. They're going to raise that to the power of 3. So 2 cubed equals 8. It's going to be 8x to the power of 9. In theory, because we've got the even power on the bottom, it should be plus and minus 8x to the power of 9. Okay, let's move on to question 7. Okay, similar thing. 125 to the power of 1/3, that is the cube root of 125. So something times something times something equals 125. So that's going to be 5. Now remember, it's not plus and minus 5, it's just 5 because it is not an even number on the bottom of the root. Question B, so we've got to now deal with the negative, so it's going to be 1 over the positive value of 125, but we're going to have the cube root, because that's the number on the bottom, that's the one we deal with first, and then we're going to square it. So the cube root of 125, as we've seen up here, is 5. Then we're going to square that, so it's going to be 1 over 25. Now, I was disappointed that more people didn't get this one right, because we went over this right at the end of one of the lessons. So I was really disappointed that more people didn't get this. I thought this would have been something that everyone would have got. 32, we said, was 2 to the power of 5. We said that 2 to the power of a half, so the square root of 2 is 2 to the power of a half. And here we simply just add the powers. So that's going to be 2 to the power of 5.5, or 2 to the power of 11 over 2. Either one's fine. Again, that shouldn't have been something that caused you difficulty. We went over that exact question. Okay, so now moving on to the surds. Now, some people really shone with the surds. So the square root of 45, we break that down to 2 different numbers: the square root of 9 and the square root of 5. Now we choose these ones, so A, they're the only factors, but B, because, in fact they're not, sort of 3 and 15 you could use, I guess, but because we can do the square root of 9, so that's going to be 3 root 5. Now B, the next one, we had 2 lots at the top, so if we multiply the top, we're going to get 6 plus 2 lots to the root of 5 over 3 minus root 5. Now most people were able to know now that to simplify this and rationalise it, we need to multiply by what's called the conjugate. So it's going to be the same as the bottom, we just change the sign in the middle, so it's going to be 3 plus root 5. So we're going to do the smiley face method, so 6 times 3 is 18. Right, now 2 root 5 times root 5, we're going to multiply the square roots together, so that's going to be plus 2 root, we're going to times the numbers together, so it's going to be 25. Then we've got the nose, so that's going to be plus 6 root 5. Then we've got the mouth, which is going to be plus 6 root 5. We're going to do the denominator. So 3 times 3 is going to be 9. Minus root 5 times root 5 is going to be minus square root of 25, or just 5, minus 3 root 5, plus 3 root 5. Okay, so let's simplify this. If we have a look at the top here, we've got 18 plus 2 root 25. Now the square root of 25 is 5, times that by 2, and that's 10. But 18 plus 10 is going to be 28. Plus here, 6 root 5 plus 6 root 5, that's going to be 12 root 5. On the bottom, minus 3 root 5 plus 3 root 5, these cancel. Root 25 is 5, so 9 take away 5 is going to be 4. Then we simplify. So 28 divided by 4 is 7, 12 divided by 4 is 3. It's going to be 7 plus 3 root 5. Now remember, we don't do the square root of 5 divided by 4, it's just the number divided by the number. And that's how that works. So 6 big marks there. And when you think that you only need to get, what, 25 marks, that's a quarter of the grade just on question 9. And the next few questions, they're very, very similar. So if you're okay with thirds, you really got on well with this. So this one here, if we're going to do 4 times 4, which is 16, root 3 minus root 3 is going to be minus, but root 3 times root 3 is simply 3, plus 4 root 3, minus 4 root 3. So these are going to cancel, leaving you with 7. Now B, we had to do 26 times by 4 plus root, over 4 plus root 3. Now because we've got this on the bottom, we have to times top and bottom by 4 minus root 3. So 4 minus root 3. So on the bottom, 4 plus root 3 times 4 minus root 3. That's what we've done in this one here. So that just leaves us with 7 on the bottom. And we've got 26 times by 4. So that's going to be 108. And then 26. Well, hang on, have I made a mistake here? Sorry, yep. That's not 10, that's 16, it's my writing. My apologies. So 16 minus 3 is going to be 13. So even the great and the good make a mistake. 16 times, so 26 times by 4 is 108. 26 times by root 3 is going to be minus 26 root 3. So we're going to do 108 divided by 13, which of course is 8. 26 divided by 13, which is 2. Oh. So that's 8 minus 2 root 3. Okay, next question. Again, all similar stuff. 108 in the form A root 3. So the fact they're telling you that it's going to be something root 3 means I'm going to break 108 down into the square root of something times the square root of 3. So would you multiply 3 by to get 108? Well, that's going to be 36. That's going to be 6 root 3. They pretty much gave you that answer there. Next, you had to do 2 minus root 3 squared in the form something plus something root 3. So if we've ever got a square bracket like this, it's going to be 2 minus root 3, 2 minus root 3. Now most people say it out like that, which I was happy with. But 2 times 2 is going to be a 4. Minus root 3 times minus root 3 is going to be plus 3. Then we've got minus 2 root 3, minus 2 root 3. That's 7 minus 4 root 3. Notice here, don't get confused, because here in the answer it says b plus c root 3, where b and c are integers. So b and c being integers means they're going to be whole numbers. But just because it says plus here, doesn't mean it's going to be a plus here. It can still be a minus. It just means that c is the integer minus 4. Next question, again, this one was dead easy. So use the smiley face method. 3 times 3 is 9. Root 5 times minus root 5 is going to be minus 5. Because the square root of a number times the square root of a number is just that number. And it's going to be plus 3 root 5 minus 3 root 5. These cancel. 9 minus 5 leaves us with 4. Again, if you're happy with all of this stuff, then this one was another gift of a question. So it's going to be, or if you're not happy with it, then it's going to be another narrow question. 2 minus root 3. 2 minus root 3. So that should be very straightforward what you have to do first, step 1. So we're going to do the smiley face method. So that's going to be 10 on the top. That's going to be a plus 3. Minus 2 root 3. Minus 5 root 3. And on the bottom, we have got 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we've got minus, so you've got root 3 times minus root 3, that's going to be minus 3. Then you've got plus 2 root 3 minus 2 root 3. Plus 2 root 3 minus 2 root 3, which we know whenever we do this cancels. 4 take away 3 is just 1, leaving you with on the bottom, so on the top, when we simplify it, 13 minus 7 root 3. Next one, root 7 times root 7, so it's a slightly different way around this time, but root 7 times root 7 is just 7. 2 times minus 2 is going to be minus 4, plus 2 root 7, minus 2 root 7. They cancel, 7 minus 4 leaves us with 3. Again, very quick and very simple. One that is slightly different and caused quite a few people difficulties was 3 root 7, and then that's squared. So 3 root 7 times by 3 root 7. So here, we're just going to multiply the numbers together. So 3 times 3 gives us 9. Root 7 times root 7 gives us 7. It's going to be 9 times 7, which equals 63. Again, it's something that we've got to get used to doing, because again, we have to use that loads and loads, even in C1. When it comes to some of the different chapters later on. So the next one, smiley face method again. 8 times 2 is 16. Root 5 times by minus root 5 is going to be minus 5. Plus 2 root 5, and then minus 8 root 5. That's going to be 11 minus 6 root 5. And that was these questions done. Now the next question I gave you guys was the simultaneous equations question. Now, again, this was done relatively well, but there were some rooms for improvement. So the question was y minus 2x minus 4 equals 0, and 4x squared plus y squared plus 20x equals 0. So we've got to either make x equals, to have x equals or y equals. So it makes sense for the top to get rid of everything apart from the y. So you're going to have y equals 2x plus 4. Then we're going to substitute that into this. So you're going to get 4x squared plus 2x plus 4 squared instead of y squared plus 20x equals 0. But as you know, and most people did, 2x plus 4 squared is 2x plus 4 times by 2x plus 4. And we've done so many of these so far this exam. So 2x times 2x is going to be 2 times 2 is 4. X times x is going to be x squared. So we're doing 4x squared plus 16. So like 16 not 10. Plus 8x plus 8x. So it's going to be 4x squared plus 4x squared. That's quite a little bit. Plus 16x plus 20x plus 16 equals 0. Simplifying that, we've got 8x squared plus 36x plus 16 equals 0. If you've got this, that got you 3 out of the 7 marks. So now you've got to factorise it. However, because you've got equals 0 here, I would divide everything by 4 to make everything easier. So that's going to be 2x squared plus 9x plus 4 equals 0. So if I factorise that, 2x x equals 0. 4 there and 1 there. Both going to be plus. So then I've got to solve it now. making the solutions for a lot of people found it difficult. So 2x plus 1 equals 0. So 2x equals minus 1. X equals minus 1 over 2. And here x plus 4 equals 0. X equals minus 4. So those are your two x solutions. Then you're going to substitute them back into this chap up here. So 2 lots of minus a half is going to be minus 1 plus 3, so that's going to give us y equals 3. Substituted minus 4 into 2 lots of minus 4 is going to be minus 8 plus 4 will give us y equals minus 4. And that's that for that question. Now finally, the other one, just find the question. Now the final thing was to do completing the square for function of x. The function of x was x squared minus 4x plus 9. Now I was happy to see how well most people did this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to halve the coefficient of the x. That's going to be x minus 2 squared. We then take away whatever this is squared. So we're going to take away 4, and we're going to bring that plus 9 down. So simplifying that, x minus 2 squared minus 4 plus 9, it's going to be plus 5. That's it. And if you did that, that was 61 out of 61 marks. Thank you very much. Please, please, please make sure that you do all the corrections. And then if you could hand it back in to me, that would be superb. Thank you.